So the reason you had to do that was a lot of those mirrors degenerate into board stalls. So you would deck your opponent with Training Grounds, Drone of Hope, Eldrazi Displacer, and Thought-Knot Seer to deck them.
Okay, that's beautiful.
All right. Now we apparently see an Eldrazi mirror as the second match. And I love this. Endless Juan and Eye of Eugene.
Yep. That is indeed happening. So it's not quite the mirror match. Rudy's version is a little spicier. It's traveled the world a bit.
The actual differences, I think, are there are only 2 Mishra's Factory and let me see what other differences there are. It's hard to tell sometimes.
So there's a difference in number of jetés. Rudy's version has 2, whereas Bryant's only has 1.
Well, Bryant has 0 in the main deck, and Bryant only has 1 Dismember. So I think... Oh, but Bryant has 4 Walking Ballista. That's the difference. So, all in all, it's hard to call it in these sort of Soulland mirror, stompy mirrors, because I think the person who draws the correct mix of Soullands and big creatures is a favorite no matter what. And the deck lists aren't different enough for that to really play out, I think. Besides, I think that is the determining factor in the matchup. So...
I think the key cards are number of Thought-Knot Seers and Reality Smashers and ability to cast them before your opponent.
Well, so for what it's worth, Endbringer is actually the king of the mirrors if the game goes that long because it lets you draw a card every turn.
Yeah, while also invalidating opposing threats.
Yeah, use it as a master decoy, essentially. Which is a 1/2 for 2. You can pay white, tap target creature, for those of you who don't know. They both had 3 Simian Spirit Guide. Yeah. Anyways, I think it's going to be a close matchup, and it might degenerate in a board stall, or someone might get run over. Who knows? Let's just go down to the match and see what happens.
Yeah. Whoever's on the play does have a bit of a strong advantage. It's not insurmountable by any means, but the ability to drop like the first Thought-Knot Seer is pretty huge.
So Rudy's hand... Soulland check, threats check, GT check. I think
this
phenomenal
hand looks very good.
Yeah. And he knows he's playing the mirror. And so does Bryant now too, though. Eldrazi Temple, Eldrazi Mimic. That's just like such a classic opening that you can't...
Yeah.
You know what you're in for now. So Bryant actually has a bunch of Soullands in his hand, and also a Wasteland off the top for the Temple. That's enormous.
Yeah, that is absurd. Otherwise, one of his best lines might have been just like Ancient Tomb, Ballista for 1, kill this Mimic before something else can come down and just like force a lot of early damage through. Yeah. The Ancient Tomb is sort of a blessing and a curse in this matchup because it's a very objectively powerful card. But if you're not closing the game quickly, then it does get shut off in the, sort of like the mid-game to like early-late game.
Unless if one of the 2 people happens to play Norborg, then you can tap it for black and take no damage. Not irrelevant. Interestingly, you saw Bryant did not shoot it immediately. I think that's wise. You can just wait for another Eldrazi to go on the stack and then shoot in response. And if it's just a 2/1, you might just even take the damage and try to use it for more resources later. Or you can do this. I think both lines of play are defensible. It's just worth noting that you could have saved it.
So Rudy here missing on that 3rd land is pretty huge. He has the Spirit Guide in hand, which, sort of counts. But he is very much at risk of falling behind on tempo and not being able to recover.
This is one of the worst feelings in the mirror, is that both of you basically have an identical mana base, right? Just getting screwed on your mana base is not really a fun way to die.
I'm used to that life as a Wasteland player. You know, that's how I buy so many of my wins. Just like, all right, Wasteland your first land. Do you have more? Nope. All right, we're done.
So, sorry, I was about to say, one of the things you can see that sort of matters in these matchups, and you saw in the original Pro Tour where this deck was played, is creature sizing matters a lot. That 4/4 blanks the 3/2 and the 3/3, but the Smasher is a 5/5. So we might get into a situation where that 4/4 actually holds off Bryant's creatures for quite a while.
So here I think we're going to see the Jitte and then potentially passing the turn or immediately dismembering the Reality Smasher.
Yeah, the Chalice is a dead card, so you don't really care if you discard it. You might have wanted to save it just to hide the fact that the Smasher would die, because then now Bryant knows what his attacks look like. If you attack with all of your creatures, your 3/3 gets blocked by the Endless One, and you take 5 going to 2. Whereas if you had left the Smasher alive, it might have been... Nah, he probably still attacks with all of his creatures. So in this case, it doesn't change anything. And Rudy being at 2, the Ancient Tomb is just going to do him in.
Rudy's draws have been a little rough.
I do wonder if Bryant was supposed to wait on that 3/3 Endless One, because the problem is the 3/3 doesn't size that well, I think.
Yeah, so we saw it be matched by the 4/4 Endless One, but similarly, it could have just been matched by, say, a Thought-Knot Seer, which you wouldn't have had the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, so for the mirror, on both sides, we're going to see these Chalice of the Voids come out.
Easiest side out ever, I think.
And the players don't have too many amazing cards to side in. You might see...
both of them sided in Ratchet Bomb for what it's worth, which means they both have an identical plan. And I think that makes sense. I think Ratchet Bomb can sort of maybe get a 2-for-1, and it lets you slowly manage a board. It's not the best card, but I think it's better than your other cards.
So I like Rudy's hand here if he can rip some lands.
Again, we're in the same situation. It's almost the exact same situation as game 1. Oh no. Rudy, not like this. Not like this.
Here's something that's kind of not intuitive. A lot of times on the first turn, you don't want to wasteland if you're behind on board. So when your opponent goes like Eldrazi Mimic, go, a lot of times it seems bad, like, oh, I'm behind on board, I'm behind on tempo, I can't wasteland here. When in reality, stripping Eldrazi of those soul lands is often worth the 2 damage that you might take from an Eldrazi Mimic.
Well, I think the more notable point for that is that if you kill their soul land, you're only going to get attacked for 2 instead of like 10 or something absurd like that, right?
Yes.
Like a Smasher pumping the Mimic. So yeah, I think wasting the first soul land, especially on the draw, is often very good.
It's something that I do almost 100% of the time as a D&T player, even if I have like an Ether Vial. Just like, nope, wasteland you first, and then we'll reevaluate next turn.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't want them playing a Thought-Knot when you could have prevented it, right? It's hard to Mother of Runes past the Thought-Knots here.
A lot of cards are randomly very bad in the Eldrazi matchups, just to throw that out there.
I would like to note at one point people played Painter's Servant versus deck because it shuts off almost all of the cost reducers. And it would turn on your Mother of Runes. How about that?
All right. Well, that Reality Smasher coming down grows the Eldrazi Mimic, and we're pretty much just done here. Bryant Cook wins the match again. He is now up 2-0 versus Rudy, the bracket breaker Briksza.
Yeah, I mean, those games did not look great for Rudy. Fortunately, Rudy still has another match, but I believe we need to take a break here to run some commercials, but we'll be back in a bit.
Hello everyone, Julian here. I guess you already knew that. A lot of you have been asking me over the last couple of weeks and even months how you can support the LPL. Now there's a new thing to do. September has arrived. This means that you who have been gifted a sub over the course of the last 30 days can now extend that subscription for just a single $1. So the idea behind that is, like, if you got a taste of what it means to be a part of the Glimpse chain that we are running on this channel, then you can extend that with, instead of $5, just $1. So that's kind of like an incentive. It's also like, of course, it's a marketing thing that Twitch does, but we're just here to try to raise awareness of the adoption, because I think it's a pretty neat idea, and also the name is pretty cool. September! So if you want to do that, you've got time until the end of September to go into your Twitch settings and select the option that converts your currently gifted subscription into like a standard subscription. It's only $1. The streamer will still get the full amount that he would get from a regular subscription, and it's like a cool way to like get even more value out of that. Also in the near future, hoping the partnership gets approved, we're also going to have a lot of more subs, I guess as well, no. Emotes and a lot of couple of things that will like improve the stream. So if you like that, if you're like looking to get some extra value out of your currently gifted subscription, that's something you can do. And now back to the matches. Really looking forward to see who's gonna advance today. Bye bye.
If you've ever used their site, it's pretty obvious why Card Hoarder is one of the largest Magic Online secondary market stores. They carry a fantastic stock of eternal staples, as well as tools to manage your collection, podcasts, and articles. Ordering has never been easier, and with the arrival of automatic order delivery, your cards are transferred in a matter of minutes. Card Hoarder has been serving the community since 2005, giving back to the community with weekly events and sponsorships that make broadcasts like this possible. Visit Cardboard.com today and see what they have to offer. You can also find them in the classifieds by searching #CardHoarder.
Quand vous avez faim et que votre énergie est en chute, c'est intelligent de refaire le plein. Moi, je suis une maman qui concilie la vie familiale avec mon travail comme professionnelle du conditionnement physique. Mes journées sont complètement remplies. Et quand j'ai faim, je refais le plein d'énergie avec une collation qui satisfait mon appétit. Voilà pourquoi je choisis les barres Atkins. En plus d'être délicieuses, elles contiennent seulement 1 gramme de sucre et plus de 8 grammes de protéines par portion. Pour en savoir plus sur Atkins et découvrir leur gamme complète de savoureuses collations, visitez atkins.com. Bon appétit!
All right,
Hello,
so
everyone. Welcome back to the Legacy Premier League. I'm Phil Gallagher, joined by Jarvis Yu. Jarvis, can you recap what's happened so far tonight for anyone who's tuned in recently?
it's Rudy versus Bryant. 2 matches have been played so far, and Bryant has won both of them with Eldrazi Stompy. In the first match, Rudy was playing Accumulated Knowledge Miracles, and in the second match, it was an Eldrazi Stompy Mirror.
Oh, geez. So for our hero Rudy to go and win this, he's going to have to take 3 matches in a row. It sounds like a difficult challenge. We'll see if he's up to it. So before we begin, I just want to mention 2 quick things. Number 1, congrats to Hissing Quagmire for winning our raffle while we were on break. And thank you to Perry Andre Post, who subscribed at the very beginning of the stream before we had audio up. So I just wanted to thank you for your support of the Legacy Premier League and more generally of Julian's channel.
Hold on, how did you pronounce that?
Perry Andre Post.
Perry and Repost?
Oh my god, it was fencing. Man.
I took personal offense of that as a former epist.
Ooh, rough. So, Latin doesn't do spaces between words. You kind of have to figure out where the word breaks are. Same's true of Twitch names, and I totally bungled that one.
Yeah, I think that person appeared in my Twitch chat at one point, and I'm like, that's an awesome Twitter name, because I obviously knew the reference.
I did too, because I fenced in college, but obviously that did not occur to